Alan Wake 2 is a survival horror game that's full of several interlocking systems, from combat to puzzle solving, case files and collectibles, and much more. Before you get lost in the dark place, take a look at these essential tips, tricks, and important things to know during your time in Bright Falls. While it can be tempting to solve all the mysteries and find all the collectibles in an area ASAP, if you're really stumped, don't be afraid to continue the story as most areas are accessible later on. Once Alan and Saga have their respective introductions, you can even switch back and forth between them at any time to tackle their objectives in the order you choose. It's strangely non-linear for a game this heavily focused on story.
And speaking of the story, this game is a lot spookier than the first one.
So we recommend wearing headphones. If not only for the spook factor, directional audio is incredibly helpful when you're surrounded by enemies, as they love to attack from all sides. When entering a new area, make sure you grab the map as soon as possible and get well acquainted with your surroundings. Alan Wake 2 is full of environmental puzzles, backtracking, and scouring the levels for clues and collectibles, so you'll need to get your bearings. These maps are usually very easy to spot, but we have missed one or two, and then we've needed to go back for it later. Trust us, you don't want to be stuck in the subway without a map, in both this game and real life. If you're playing on normal, spend those dang resources. The amount of ammo and healing items you find in boxes, drawers, and other places depends on how much you already have in your inventory. If you open containers and don't find anything, that means you're pretty well off. Plus, you can get a charm that increases the chance of getting better items. Like other third-person shooters that have a really close camera, Alan Wake 2 has a quick turn. This one's a little weird, as instead of pressing back plus a button, tap back on the left analog stick twice. Many of the Taken you face will actively flank you, so this is an important shortcut to avoid being overwhelmed. Most collectibles have hints in the environment that lets you know that one is nearby. Alex Casey lunchboxes often have colored egg-like stones and crosses woven with colored yarn called God's Eyes nearby. Finding mysterious twin triangle symbols often leads to cult stashes. Low, warbling radio noises indicate a nursery rhyme puzzles nearby. And yellow arrows that reflect light off your flashlight will point towards spirals that hold words of power for Alan, or even some cult stashes for Saga. The nursery rhymes are pretty vague and leave a lot up to interpretation, but pay attention to the capital letters when you read them, as they often denote important words or clues. Then, look out for the black sludge that you can follow to your reward. Unlike the Taken that Saga has to deal with, the shadowy enemies in the dark place for Alan can appear anywhere, but not all of them are hostile or even tangible. As Alan, you can go slowly when enemies appear and just point your flashlight at most of them for a moment, even without boosting, and they'll disappear without draining any battery power. However, those that don't fade away can sometimes grab you first, or will warp over to you and attack, and must be killed like regular enemies. Always move defensively when encountering a crowd of these foes. If you really need to wade into a thick mob of shadow people, use a hand flare to immediately dissipate entire groups, and catch the real attackers off guard by stunning them. Ammo is limited in Alan Wake 2, especially on higher difficulties. With Saga's crossbow, you can get some of that ammo back by harvesting the arrows after defeating a Taken. Certain enemies that spawn randomly in an area will also drop items on death and appear in small boxes when their body vanishes. You won't get resources to upgrade all your abilities or weapons, so keep that in mind when spending your points. Saga can find manuscript fragments in Alex Casey lunchboxes stashed around hidden spots to upgrade her weapons. Meanwhile, Alan can find spiraling words of power that give you a point in specific perk trees to choose from 3 different abilities that can be ranked up by finding more words for that specific upgrade category. Since some of Alan's upgrades can affect weapons you may not have yet, you may also want to stockpile a few points until you find that shotgun or flare gun to invest heavily in them right away. And those are our essential tips for Alan Wake 2. Have any that you'd like to share? Make sure to let us know in the comments below. And while you're here, make sure to check out our review. For everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.